anyone else who wants to come up, come on up. But I think we can get started. There's a ton of updates coming out of Town Hall last week that were super exciting. Wanted to walk through a number of those things. We don't have any special guests this week, but we've got more than enough. I think just like things that have happened in the Cool Cat space over the past few weeks that we can totally cover those. I think the exciting one was all the contests that are going on. So we recently had the trivia raffle that concluded, and I believe a handful of people got their unminted cats, so that was awesome. And then every DGen out there seems to have spent their milk on raffle tickets. Did any of you guys ape into the raffle tickets?
I tried to buy 200K worth milk worth.
Sniper, did you pick up any?
Oh, of course. I've been stealing my buddy Kips. He's in the crowd. I've been stealing his idea. Now that there's been a lot that's been sold, I can go ahead and leak the alpha. But no, I definitely felt like buying them in like certain increments was the way to go. Instead of buying like 100 at once, I've been trying to like split them up here and there. Will it matter? Who knows? But it's super cool to see people like Merv and Kevin. They've been doing giveaways, and the other people that have been doing giveaways for raffle tickets. I don't want to leave anybody out, but there's been a lot of people doing giveaways. That's super cool to see. And I felt like this is an easy way to kind of include everyone. Like, you don't have to be a holder. I don't believe. Do you? Do you have to be a holder?
No.
Yep. No.
On the chain.
Okay, so not only that, I mean, you don't have to be really good at something in order to win it. Like, I definitely know there are people that draw way better than me, respectfully. So I don't even want to get into that competition. But with this, I mean, it's a fair draw. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I got me a couple. I've spent I think 30,000 or 40,000, but I plan on getting at least a couple more tickets before it ends. What about you?
I'm holding off. The amount of tickets I see people buying out there, and knowing that the team might have more milk events and things like that coming up, I'm kind of saving it, especially after Psyduck. I don't want to spill the beans too much for him. Oh, he's on stage. Oh my god.
Is he gonna?
I can't tell.
Did he buy? Did he buy?
I can't tell. Psyduck, are you keeping your strategy close to the chest? Are you willing to disclose what you're planning on doing or have already done?
I'll just say that I haven't bought any yet. I haven't bought any tickets yet.
Okay. Yet. That's a key word here. Yet. Okay.
And I think you're rolling in the many millions of milk. What you do with it, it's your own business. But yeah, I think just everyone look out for that.
But you brought up a good point though. Not spending all your milk at once, but Psyduck does have enough milk to where he could throw a hefty amount at it and still save a hefty amount. So it's going to be interesting to see what Psy does. I mean, you know.
Yeah, at that point, I feel like that's enough to convert over to ETH to buy a cat, but I feel like it's just a flex at this point just to buy the raffle tickets and see if you win it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, someone without much milk, I'm just not getting any tickets, and I'll just use it to play the game.
Yeah, as intended. I like it. So that's going on, and then the final contest going on that at least I'm aware of is the Clontest, and that has been insane. Like I didn't know what to expect going into the Clontest and seeing what people were going to submit. I thought there'd be some cute illustrations here and there, but people have like blown my mind in terms of the level of creativity out there, in terms of creating not just beautiful art, but like origami versions of the characters, and like digital 3D renderings, and it's insane. I don't really know the full rules of the contest, honestly. I didn't read through it in detail, but I was actually surprised to see how many of the new characters were in there. Almost all the pieces had Joe the Bird and all these other characters. Did anyone else? What are your thoughts on what you've seen so far?
I was really, really happy with this year. I mean, so whenever they did like the first contest, like ever, it was crazy to see what the talent was then, and it's continued to evolve over time to what it is now. But I'll tell you, my favorite thing that I see, I don't want to say it pops up every contest, but maybe it does in its own rendition. But I love when people do the Cool Cats lo-fi like video, and then sometimes I think people actually put the music behind it as well. But anytime someone does, that's why I can't be a judge, because if you were to do a lo-fi, you would win automatically. But no, I think that's like some of the coolest stuff, and just seeing what people can create just by seeing Klon post a couple pictures, because like I'm seeing Cool Cat playing hockey. Like I never seen Klon create that, but seeing people take that on and do what they do with it, it's really cool to see. So I'm very impressed. Me myself, I would never enter, just because mine is awful. But yeah, there's some really talented people out here, and shout out to the people just giving it a go just to try. You know, much respect to them, because I suck.
Yeah, it's hard to compete in something like this with the talent that goes into this. I don't see much of this in terms of the space, like this level of talent coming out for something like this. So, Hawkward, you're an artist yourself. Like, what anything that catches your eye with the Clontest?
Sorry, I got lost on Twitter and couldn't come back. So I don't know. I actually really like the fan art aspect of Cool Cats. That's one of my favorite parts of it, because like I was a hobbyist before a professional artist, and just like doing fan art of the communities that I love so much. And I've always just been so happy that the Cool Cats community does encourages this kind of community. I think it's so awesome. It's what makes me really bullish on communities. But yeah, I've seen a lot of cool stuff. I obviously can't really think very well right now about which ones I like, but uh some really cool stuff. And I've been following back all the artists that I've seen make these things, because I'm so impressed. And I think it's a good way to connect and network is show your love for the communities you love, and the communities will love you back,
Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen any of it, I pinned one of my tweets from earlier today, that kind of just shows a collage of ones that really stood out to me. And like I said, they're all amazing, and they all somehow incorporate all these new characters that we don't know much about, but you can kind of start to see what Klon is, the Klon team using Klon's kind of older IP that he's been developing for years. Based on this, you kind of start to see that spark of inspiration in terms of, oh, okay, I could see what this is starting to look like. Like you can see the interactions between these characters, the different personalities, the different adventures that they go on, the different hijinks, the different jokes. So I think this is the moment that it really cemented, for me at least, a level of excitement around, oh, okay, this is what new characters can actually bring to the table for Cool Cats. It's not just new NFT drops and new cute character traits and a red character instead of a blue character. It's like, imagine all of these interacting together in some way, whether that's a game or animated series or something else. And then Hawkward, can you talk about this ugly beast you just put up?
So what is the name of the anteater again?
There's a name. There's a. Is this a specific type of anteater? Sniper, save her. Jump in.
No, so I was gonna say there's definitely the fawns, but I will say what I was gonna say had to do with the Clontest really quickly before you wrap that up. It's also a good way for them to find other artists. Someone can correct me in the Cool Cats general chat if I'm wrong, but I believe one of the first contests is actually how they found Midnight to become an artist, and he was really, really talented whenever he drew his stuff, and it looked really good. But I think it's also a way for them to kind of scout people and see other artists in the space, because like I said, that's how you get Midnight and other people. So that was a really cool thing that I thought they were doing too, but maybe wasn't saying as much if they did take it from that perspective. But no, you can go back to Hawkward fumbling around and talking about her fawns and
we're done with her anteater hijinks here. I'm kidding. Go ahead, Awkward.
No, I'm totally like, don't let me speak.
You're the co-host. What do you mean? Okay. Go ahead. Good night.
No, yeah, that's awesome about Midnight. I didn't know that he's a beast when it comes to the art that he produces. So that's awesome to hear. But yeah, it'll be cool to see if any new hires come out of this. But speaking of new hires, that's the next piece. We've got 2 big new hires here, and I think there's a lot to be learned about these new hires if you were really to dive into understanding like the type of role they play. So we've got Jarvis NFT, who's actually in the audience right here, who has been brought in as a Cool Cats project manager, and then we have Michaela, who has been brought in as the CMO. And Michaela also dropped the news that she is opening 4 new recs, new job positions that actually opened up this past week. 1 for copywriter, 1 for marketing manager, 1 for partner marketing manager, and 1 for social media coordinator. So there's a lot to take in there, but I guess first for Jarvis with project manager, I was like a project manager for a number of years for a big company, so like I love like what that role can bring to a specific company. So I know the importance of kind of like meeting milestones and finding like the right blockers, figuring out what's blocking things that prevent us from getting things done. And I feel like that's like a discipline that Cool Cats has been lacking up until now. But I know Jarvis has kind of proven himself in terms of really coming on as a project manager, starting with Cooltopia. So Cooltopia was in between Cool Cats and an agency, a creative agency, Media Monks, that put on the whole event. But it's not as easy as just, a client and then an agency putting together an event. You kind of need a quarterback in place, and Jarvis played that role. So if any of you were at Cooltopia NYC, if you saw a guy that was just like running around with a purpose and always looked like he had like knew he was at point A but needed to get to point B, like that was Jarvis. And he was a complete rock star. I think the team also talked about just like he was working nonstop. He dropped by the team dinner but didn't stay very long because he had more work to do. He's a spreadsheet machine. And hopefully we can have him on in the future spaces to kind of break down Cooltopia and his role going forward. But that's one big piece. Hawkward, did you catch Jarvis at all during the?
Yeah, well, he like caught me because like I arrived with some VIPs, Danny Ukes and Vinny Hager. So he like swooped us back to like some other way because he was like, yeah, one of them should have gotten you like a golden ticket to like get in like fast pass style, and like yeah, he was super helpful. And then I had to like coordinate Andrew arriving, and so like I was in communication with Jarvis, and he was just like I don't know, definitely project manager type mode. Like I was very impressed by him, and I was so happy to hear that he's on the team now, and like I like can't wait to see him at work in his new role.
Sniper.
So I've only heard positive things, which is absolutely amazing about Jarvis. Since I've heard about him at Cooltopia, the main things that I've heard were he has been working like crazy. He has been running around like crazy, doing everything. And he has been like working his ass off. Sorry for cussing. But the one thing that I'm excited about is that, I mean, we got somebody like that now. And I'm pretty sure Jarvis reached out to me a couple of times and just checking on me. And I was like, damn. I asked a couple people, I was like, yo, do y'all know if Jarvis works on the team by any chance? And everyone was like, nah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And then now to see that he is on the team, I'm really excited just because he was just a complete, genuine guy every time I've seen any interaction with him. So that's really good to see. And shout out to Jarvis if you're still down there in the crowd. Big shout out to you, man. I see you in the Cool Cat server, but just wanted to give you your praise, man. I've only heard positive things about you in the best way. So yeah.
Siduk, did you have a chance to meet Jarvis? And if not, just like general thoughts on like project manager role for Cool Cats, because I know you have experience working in businesses, running businesses, things like that. I'm just curious to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I did meet Jarvis. Really, really awesome guy. Could have been more awesome if he gave me the statue, but he didn't. So that's okay though. But I think project managers are super important, right? Because they're the ones that are sort of like a glue to the whole team. Usually a lot of teams are heads down doing their thing, whether it's like art or business development or sales or marketing. But sometimes you need someone to like bridge those teams together, and project managers are often that glue, and that's a super important role so that the team is moving together as one. Otherwise, sometimes if everyone's two heads down, they can start to diverge and go down different pathways. So, or not talk to each other about what's going on. So I think the conduit is extremely important, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the great way to put it. They're the glue. So if you think about like launching or developing a game feature, everyone's kind of working in a silo. Like the people working on the game are working in a silo. The people that are supposed to be marketing it are working in the silo. So the project manager is really responsible for saying like, hey, we're going to be finished with building this thing, marketing. Are you ready to pick up the baton here? Are you ready to kind of fulfill your end of it because it's coming up soon? So they really are kind of like that communicator across teams and bringing them together to make sure everyone's accountable and ready to go. Sorry, I think I muted everyone there.
Okay.
My mistake.
It wasn't me, guys. It wasn't me.
That was my bad. And then Michaela. So Michaela had a chance to come up as the new Cool Cats CMO and give a brief overview about her experience. I was actually surprised by how much, I guess, crypto and NFT experience, semi-degen experience she's already had prior to this role. So that was great to hear that she has experience in that space. And my personal take on like the new roles, whether it's copywriter, marketing manager, partner marketing, or social media coordinator, like I don't think any of us can like dispute like how much those roles have been needed over the past few months, right? Copywriter, like someone to actually proofread, ensure grammar, spelling is correct before it's out the door. Even social media coordinator, I think it was very candidly admitted during the last community spaces with Sean, actually, that she said, look, we don't have someone dedicated to that. We've just all been trying as a team to pick up the pieces where we can. And like, I think everyone knows that's not like super sustainable for there to be like no central point of contact around it and people just chipping in where they can. So I think all of these roles are pretty spot on. What are your guys' thoughts?
No, I'm just going to sound like a broken record, man. I'm happy with the decisions that are being made now. I think that the town hall that we had was probably one of the best that we've had in a very, very long time. And the whole time I was sitting there excited about everything being said. But like I said, I'm just a broken record. I'm happy with who we got. Everyone that I've ran into, whether it's Michaela, Jarvis, I've had great interactions with. They've been like genuine people. So, I mean, it seems like on the up and up for me personally, but Hawkward, you could probably speak on it more than I can.
No, I can't really, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know Michaela very well, and I'm excited to see her in her new role, but like I really don't have much to go on quite yet. It's like Jarvis, I had previous experience. I kind of already know him, so like getting to know Michaela and just seeing like who she is, and like that's gonna be on my part too. Like I have to kind of reach out and see how she's talking about it. But like it'd be cool if we could get her on like one of these spaces and like kind of like talk to her like directly.
For sure. I feel like, Hawkward, you have former CEO PTSD. Like, Well,
Yeah, the Chris Hassett situation, you know, like he had a really great speech, and I was like willing to give him time and like see like okay, like the founders are doing what's best, what they think is best for the company, and that's to have like a CEO that can kind of like uh really make it into a viable business. And well, I mean, the business is viable now, but you know, like formally run like as a web2 type company. uh so like yeah, I'm a little scared, but I'm not saying like any red flags I have. Like I don't have any red flags for Michaela, so to speak. And I didn't really with Chris, but like no, like I'm gonna stop talking, but like I totally have no reason to like be doubtful of Michaela or anything. It's just my kind of personal trust issues.
I hear you. So those are the new hires. If anyone else has anything to throw in there, feel free to chime in. All right. So again, super bullish on Jarvis and Michaela. Extra bullish on Jarvis, mainly because to Hawkwart's point, like we've actually seen what he's capable of and executing and kind of quarterbacking an awesome event with Cooltopia. And I guess to leave it at that, I'll just say like hiring someone like Jarvis is also a good sign that maybe that means we see more in real life events in the future. Various things coming up, whether it's project management for a lot of things going on inside Cool Cats, or whether it's for the bigger events. I think it's a big win for the company. So that's great. Great. The other piece that was touched on with Town Hall was merch. So new merch is coming this year. Elu was talking about a number of things. I think everyone was listening super closely because they want sticker packs. So I'm like not especially uber excited about sticker packs. I know people like are obsessed over them, so I'll buy them if they're out. But people have like a ridiculous obsession with sticker packs. But I think what you did say were plushies, stickers, toys, and backpacks as examples, and that they would be available and starting to make their way to actual physical stores like Macy's and GameStop, which I found super interesting. And interesting news this week. It looks like Toys R Us is like opening up again. I know that they like all shut down their stores, but it sounded like based on like the news outlets out there, Toys R Us is opening back up in Macy's, which is interesting. Like now they're becoming a kind of a mini toy store in there. Because I think at Town Hall at first I was like, Macy's? Why Macy's? Like what's going on there? But maybe they're making a big toy play here. What are you guys looking forward to in terms of merch, very specifically? And please don't say sticker pack.
I'm looking forward to sticker packs. Now, although I do understand the hype, I definitely want better quality garments, which I think they are getting better quality over time. They have came a long way, but as long as I see some improvement in the quality, that would be nice. It's hard to do that on such a, I guess, widespread to try to deliver to everyone. But I don't know. I think they'll pick it up from there, and I'm really excited to see like things like backpacks, toys. I'm the type of guy that wants like a mini fridge and just the most absurd things. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do. Hawkward, let's hear what you have to say because I'm fumbling.
Sniper, stop putting me on the spot. But
Oh, I got to.
I did have an answer for this one, and it's like they tease that they're gonna have like cool fashion clothes, like kind of what creatures level type garments, or what you see Figure Got is doing. So like I think it'd be really cool if I could, I don't know, have a sense of fashion just by buying merch from like a franchise I love, you know?
I think that part's super exciting. The we'll call it the G style clothing. hopefully exclusively available online at Custom Land LA. If anyone's not familiar, just to plug Custom Land, which is Gigi's store on Melrose in Los Angeles. And I think the other pieces, yeah, the clothing, like there's the high end, and then there's also just Elu mentioned that there would be clothing for all sizes, for kids, for adults, everything like that. Right now, the merch store seems to have stripped out like a lot of the clothing that used to be there on the store. So hopefully, it gets replaced pretty soon with stuff that's available for everyone. Psyduck, I think you got kids too. Like, what are you looking for merch? Like, what's your take on NFT merch in general, and just the concept there?
Actually, I was quite inspired by the recent Azuki drop with the jacket. I thought it was really cool because the jacket's reversible. They produce really cool videos around it and stuff. There's a whole experience on the website for when you actually claim it. The color of the NFT changes. So I think like merch, I feel like merch done in that way where it integrates a little bit more experientially with the NFTs is really cool. Like, I don't know, like what if your cat could, I don't know, wear your merch or something like that. So that's a little bit more representative of you. I think there's lots of ideas to tie digital and physical together, right? I also think there's interesting things around the cost of the merch too. Like normally people just throw it up and charge money for it, but like I would play with the monetization of it, right? Like again, Azuki, like I think they just gave it to everybody for free. So I think like when we're talking about assets that are very expensive or high dollar, I think keeping in mind the economics of things like merch is super important because sometimes even if you take a cut on it, right? Like if you eat the cost of it as a company or business, it might be totally worth it to your collector base, right? To just give them free merch that's really high quality, versus making them pay for it. So I'm not saying do that every time. I'm saying, think about the costs of it. Think about your audience. Think about how it may tie into other stuff too. I think most projects do it very one-sided, right? Where they just like produce stuff, make you buy it, and like that's it. But I think again, we had the opportunity to do things that are so much more interesting. So it's like, why not? But yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, you're always thinking outside the box, and I think say what you will about Azuki, I'm not a holder, but that drop was insane. Like the quality, everyone loves a good bomber jacket. Everyone loves a good reversible bomber jacket. And like one that was actually free for holders and redeemable that way. It's high quality, and that's always been a critique of the NFT space. That seemed, a lot of people saying, hey, I spent so much on these NFTs as a holder. Like, why am I spending another $35, $55 on a hoodie when, royalties, this and that? So I think that would be an exciting thing in terms of just, the potential of holders only, exclusive, high end apparel at low cost or no cost to holders. That's something definitely to explore too.
And if I could say, yeah, like, cause I'm intrigued too by the artifacts hoodies coming up, but you don't need to be partnered with Nike in order to produce like super high quality merch. But I think they are going to charge for that though, which is a little bit of a bummer. Like I wish, like Sadek, kind of saying, I wish they would follow the Azuki model. But at least, I don't know, it promises something different with the NFC tags that they're going to add in the filter stuff. But who knows?
Yeah. No, I hear you. And even if it's not like clothing, even figurines and things like that, and I mean, Doodles is doing so many things right. And I think they're creating such cool items. I would have thought that like some of those like custom figures, those like $350 figures, I think it's kind of shortchanged to charge the holders like that much to get one of those. And it would have been cool to see like custom figures being given to holders for free in that instance. Again, I don't know the economics of it, and I mean, it probably is pretty costly, but something like that, where you can actually have something sitting on your desk next to your computer with you that you got because you're a holder, that's a very exciting prospect to me.
Well, I think that's what people want out of like 10K TFT, right? Is that kind of one of one, like customized merch based on their assets.
For sure. And it sounds like you're running a daycare out of there. That's a lot of kids.
Yeah, it's only two. Don't be deceived. The other thing I wanted to say, I think, and I don't know if people realize about GameStop is that, you know, they are not just selling video games. It's a lot of like Funkos and like collectibles, trading cards, and you know, hopefully, it gives me a lot of hope on the different kinds of not just merch, but maybe other collectible kind of things that we'll see coming out of Cool Cats. Because Macy's, I think that'll probably be strictly like clothing stuff because I was in there recently and because I had to buy a suit. But yeah, GameStop I think will be really interesting to see what they add there.
For sure. Retro, what do you got?
Yo, how's it going, everybody?
Hey.
Hey, so I just wanted to add a little bit of alpha on the GameStop. So I was just curious because of the gaming group that I help have, and I decided to reach out to GameStop NFT on Twitter to see if they had any collaborations, and they mentioned that at the moment they're revamping their marketing, but that, you know, to come back in a while. So I'm super opportunistic about that just because of the fact that, you know, if, you know, a project like Cool Cats went and they decided, you know, hey, we want to partner with you all for the marketplace, which also leads to the stores. So now it's a seemingly easier direct channel into retail stores. But yeah, they're actually pretty cool and they're really nice. So I guess if you're ever interested, just hit them up. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do. Just reiterating Polaroid's point there.
Yeah, I think that's almost like a business development question in my mind in terms of like vertically integrating like the partnerships that they're having. Like, how is GameStop thinking about, you know, digital products they're offering and partnering with, and how that's coming to life in the physical stores as well too. So that's super interesting that you reached out to them, and hopefully they kind of take that seriously. Awkward, what's up?
Yeah, just one like final thought on merch is like, yeah, I see a lot of NFT collections trying to just like do these limited merch drops, and like that's gonna be very costly for holders, whether the collection's paying the bill or the holders are. But I think what's a smarter move for Cool Cats, since we know that the brand already like resonates out in the wild, like people came off of Times Square just to like play around in Cooltopia. If we can get it into these like bigger retail locations, then it'll be a lot easier to just give it to the holders for free because there's so many units made and all that jazz. So like I think that's the kind of direction they got to take it, and I think that's the direction they're looking in. So it's exciting.
I think one thing too that would be really cool, just to add on to the merch. Sorry, I really want to say it just because I know that Hales has like an incredible idea of, you know, bringing Cool Cats into daycares and, you know, the whole daycare system. So shout out to Hales for that. It got me thinking about, you know, the idea of the, you know, just developmental era for children and, you know, who are their role models. And I think, you know, the most common ones are, you know, Elmo, Mickey Mouse, and I think those are the two front runners really when it comes to that. But I would love to see Cool Cats become, you know, like a champion in the developmental, you know, era. So having either mini games on the Cooltopia website to, you know, attract more, you know, families that want to teach their kids their ABCs or their numbers, or even doing like physical products, books would be really cool. Because I know that just snowballs, right? You start off with a book with, you know, a TV show or something, and then it evolves into they need the, you know, the book bag, they need the pencil bag, they need the crayons, the markers, everything branded Cool Cats. So I think it'd be really cool if that was an area they decided to focus on. But I know that they mentioned, back to school supplies already with Toikido, but just kind of wanted to throw that in there.
You're always keeping the gaming dream alive too, Retro. You gotta give you props for that. And then kind of closing out the merch Toikido point with like Macy's and GameStop too. Some of the pinned tweets that I just put here were actually from Toikido back in December of last year and November of last year, and that gives you just a visual of what they did with their biggest success today, which is their Among Us partnership, and you can just see how many stores in the UK and Spain that they were getting into. So this might be a glimpse into kind of how Toikido approaches, working with department stores with big retailers to carve out shelf space and get some real estate in the toy sections and display hopefully cool cat toys in the future too. Then let's talk about the game. Okay, so this one I would love to hear from folks on this because I think there's so many things we probably won't be able to dive into like in depth, like because you could go on an offshoot on all these, but I'm saying the game in quotations, right? So I think we learned a number of things at town hall. One was we finally got an answer on like what those damn items are that the cats are gathering, and it looks like it's for boss battles, so that's confirmed. But it also seemed like aside from boss battles, which we don't know what date it's coming out, and maybe another major feature, it sounded like a conscious shift away from the game and transitioning obviously to the IP, but really using things that were already built, the infrastructure that was built for the game. So we're talking about the website, we're talking about the Meow Pad, we're talking about Milk as a token, keeping those around, but not necessarily kind of continuing to build out game features and types of games to utilize those, but more using them for the other things that promote the IP, whether that's NFT drops, events, raffles, and other activities. I think this is a like really creative way of shifting it, but not throwing everything out. And actually, there could probably be some super creative ways of, like we've seen with the raffle, using all these things that they built for one purpose, but using it for a completely different purpose going forward. What are folks' thoughts around that?
I'll break the silence and say that I can't speak heavily on it because I'll sound unprofessional. So Retro or Hawkward or Sai is gonna have to take this one away.
Yeah, I can go ahead and talk a little bit on it. I think with a great infrastructure, you can do a lot of things, and to incorporate the Meow Pad and to incorporate Milk and to get a system going where we're using this consistently for, future contests, for future events, for merchandise, just make it a one-stop hub, almost in tandem to a social media site or something like that. It would be pretty good. I think it has a decent base. I definitely think there was possibly a lack of vision for the next steps at the initiation of it, but I'm optimistic. And I mean, y'all know me. I put out that blurb on Twitter. I made a thread, and it was about, it would be great to incorporate the website and create a bunch of, I guess, really small browser games to expand on the lore, right? So having a game like the one that Cappuccino did, it would be really cool if we could pin that. I need to get better at learning how to do that stuff. But he made that Chugs game where you have to collect the cookies. And if we had like a bunch of those and we had them for, each of the different one of one cats, the one of one pets, and maybe even, the new characters that are coming into play, like Lilac and the rest, it would be pretty cool because you get to explore more of the world, and you also get to, kind of world build at the same time through an interactive, fun experience. And then on top of that, if you could maybe make some sort of interaction with those quick playable games to where there's a leaderboard, and maybe there's a weekly payout for a modifier like a 2-time milk, or maybe like a modifier to your quests for better luck based or something like that. That would be pretty cool too. So overall thoughts, just to summarize, it's a great infrastructure. They can do a lot with it, like what we're seeing right now with the birthday celebration, incorporating the raffles and tickets. Would love to see more world building through small video games. Yes, I'm gonna talk about games all the time, but yeah, I'm pretty optimistic, but I'm also very, very much a positive person. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think I was pretty critical on the recent game updates where it kind of hit a wall there. Where I was just like, this feels like a chore, and I'm not too sure where we're going with this. But I know I shared that with some folks in a thread as well. But Psyduck, like we got to talk about the game and the change in direction. I know you've had thoughts about it too. I don't think you've spoken too much about it. But is there anything you, just from your point of view, that you want to share around the game up to this point, and also kind of the game or the non-game going forward?
Yeah, I think when I think about the game, I think about user behaviors and like what are the incentives that are driving certain behaviors, as well as like the cadence of attention. I feel like attention is a very valuable resource in this space because there's so much going on. And so when I compare that to the game, I think like for what it's doing and what it's requesting in terms of attention, it's a little bit of a mismatch, right? Where like even right now, I'm kind of doing the gathering quest for my cats, and I think like logging on every day to do daily things is a little bit tough in this particular space for this particular experience. And so like I think about how I would shift that right to a different type of experience where maybe I don't have to log in every day. Maybe it's more passive. Maybe the things in which I do in the game are a little bit more engaging or drive a little bit more curiosity. So I think like those are the things I think about really when it comes to the game as it is today. I think I definitely agree with Retro that there's a lot of opportunity with it now that the structure is there, and the foundation is done. A lot of investment was made into it. I think like really honing in on the behaviors that we want people to have in here is going to be super important going forward.
Retro.
Yeah, I just wanted to pose a question to everybody, just because I was brought back to a very nostalgic time in my life whenever you said user behavior, and that was when I was a kid and I was playing a bunch of MMORPG games online and just logging in every day to grind, and it got me thinking. I barely have the time to play video games now, and when I do, I try to be a little bit respectful of my time, and just because I have my job, and I have other stuff I want to do. But I think when I was younger, it was so much easier for me to do the grind, to log on every day. And I even think to my nephews that are a little bit younger than me, still in high school, or maybe in middle school, and they still love to hop on every day, get on the grind, and go about it. So I guess my question is, do you all think that maybe the model overall doesn't really work with us, since we're a little bit on the older side? We are normally, I'd say maybe averagely, like over 18, somewhat with responsibilities, or do you think it's maybe this type of model would be better if it was like for kids, or what do you all think about that?
I think there's some truth to that personally from my point of view. Like I don't have the time in the day to grind for the sake of grinding and having the OCD to accumulate a number of items. I think for me, even if I'm trying to play games outside of blockchain, like on Xbox or PlayStation, like it has to have a level of delightfulness and entertainment for me. And I'll be honest, like the Cooltopia game doesn't really have any of that for me. Like I don't find any sense of delight gathering and seeing what I gathered, like in terms of a molten lava rock, or it's not a entertaining or delighting experience in that sense. So I would much rather spend my time, playing a different type of game that actually could, kind of be an escape.
So I've been in Avagachi since February 2021, and for like the first 6 months, there was no like auto like pet your Avagachi or like pet all of your Avagachi. So I was petting like 6 or 7 Avagachi every day, and it was just like such a grind, and like I didn't have time for it. But I think it's the difference, the nuance there that we're kind of like not directly addressing is uh the fun aspect. Well, I mean, some people have touched on it, but it's like Zedrun is calling it play and earn now instead of play to earn, because like I was playing it Axie Infinity and it like was not fun. It was not worth it for me to like grind that hard. And for some people, they do that like cost benefit analysis and it is worth it for them. But I think the more fun you add to the game, the more people will be willing to grind. Like, there's a lot of grindy MMOs, but you're like killing things and like having fun while doing it. Like the quests can be like tedious and repetitive, but like if you're having fun while you're doing it, then like you're more likely to keep doing that behavior. Retro?
Yeah, I just really want to say real quickly, just because you brought another great connection for me to kind of allude to. Just because on paper, what I'm about to describe may sound extremely boring to people, but with Pokemon, a lot of people have the experience of playing the game, collecting their favorite Pokemon, battling the gym leaders, and finishing the game. But for other people, there's a whole other aspect of it, which is competitive battling. And competitive battling is both an art and a science. And some people will literally spend days and days and days grinding to create the perfect Pokemon for battles. And
That's
there's a
me.
lot. Yeah, I didn't know you play competitive. We should play.
Well, I was mostly a breeder, so I would like hatch thousands of eggs.
Yeah,
I would spend thousands of hours just running a bicycle back and forth for eggs to hatch. But
yeah, yeah.
nowadays I don't know. It's ironic because I feel like once you get actual money for it, you're like, this is like not a lot of money at all. But I was doing that for free.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just would love to see how the battling comes into play. I really hope it's done well, because it could be a turning point. All that grind is enjoyable to some people. But yeah, that's all I want to say. I know Ham's got his hand up.
And one thing I'll add before or that is, let's not forget that there's still Skiz's work with Coolverse, and he has mentioned that that he is building a more interactive experience, potentially things like, I think the example he threw was like a snowball fight multiplayer thing, and I think that's a whole different type of experience, which I'm hoping is entertaining and is actually fun. And Hawkward, I know you were in like the Discord over the weekend, and same with Sniper, and everyone's getting so hyped up about Fall Guys. Like you're having like a group like Fall Guys event in the Cool Cats Discord to play that game. And it's like a year from now, if we have Coolverse and we're still doing Fall Guys get-togethers, like something's gone wrong in my opinion. Like we should be having like Coolverse get-togethers. Like we should. That's where we should be going to actually like engage as a community, to have fun and interact with each other. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, Ham.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me? Am I coming through?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no.
Yeah, you're good. Oh. Ham, I think we lost you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
Now you're back.
Again, you're back.
my back. Can you hear me now?
Little choppy, but go for it.
Can you hear me now?
Still a little choppy.
All right, I'll leave the stage and come back. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Anyone have any other thoughts about the shift, the game? I think overall, it's kind of a sense of the Cooltopia shift seems to be a good decision at this time.
Yeah, and I did want to like preface what I said at whatever point, that they made the conscious decision to launch the game iteratively, and wow, did I even pronounce that right? Step by step and at a very early stage instead of, waiting a year or so for like a complete game to come out. So I think at in a sense that could have been a benefit because now they're in a position where they can pivot a lot easier than having made us wait even longer for something that we may not even like. So like it's kind of a blessing in a sense that they started out really early and they're able to, that's why they're trying to get the community's input on like, okay, like we have this, what do you think about it, like what do you like about it, okay, this isn't working, so like how can we make it better. And I do appreciate that they're doing it that way and getting at least like trying to listen to our feedback, even if you can't please everyone.
100%. The last part that I think we'll talk about on this space, unless anyone's got anything else, the big thing from Town Hall was just the impacts to roadmap. So Hawkward has corrected me 2 times that Shadow Wolves is not going away. Klon has corrected me that Shadow Wolves is not going away, but it seems to be pushed out a bit further to make room for some of these new characters. So it sounds like there's no official roadmap update coming, but the sense we should get is like the second half of this year is mainly devoted to kind of launching these new characters that are kind of companions to Blue Cat here. And I thought it was really interesting that Klon said that these are obviously characters he's crafted for a number of years. If you go to like his cartoonist Twitter page, Instagram page, you see these characters showing up for many years. And what he said was like Linkoid specifically has been developing the storyline and lore behind it. So I think Linkoid and PMOS are really responsible for the story and lore in Cool Cats. So they've kind of taken these characters and run with it. So there's a ton of, I think, backstory to these characters that are going to come out that are coming from their minds. And as time comes, I think the drop strategy for these characters will be revealed. We didn't get any details, but Klon did mention that there's some fun mechanics that they're thinking around this. So I guess this ties into some of the Clontest stuff that we heard, like we saw earlier. But what are folks' thoughts on just like the new characters coming out later this year? Are there any characters that you're specifically drawn to?
Joe, for one, just because now we have the saying LFJ, so let's freaking Joe. I love that. And I feel horrible because the first thing I did after Town Hall was go into the server jokingly and said RIP Shadow Wolves 2022 to 2022. And I just see one person respond to me, and it was Kalon. And he was like, nope, they're not dead. And I was just like, oh my God, you wasn't supposed to see that. But I really ruined myself there. So I know he hates me. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I'm really excited for all the characters. I've seen the cartoonist IG, especially whenever, Cool Cats first came around. And he's had a lot of good stuff on there, especially if you go back and look now. I've took several screenshots. I know I made a tweet. You made a tweet. Of just the characters, the different faces, what they are. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see if there's anything else maybe he might add with it. Who knows? But yeah, I'm really excited.
I'm particularly excited about the penguin. Does he have a name yet? Anybody know?
I don't think he or the Anteater have names. If I look at the previous like Instagram posts, Klon just kind of hashtag like penguin and hashtag Anteater. They didn't
It
have names.
totally is a penguin. I didn't even realize it was a penguin. It's
Yeah.
totally a penguin.
Yeah,
I know.
I didn't know either.
Blew my mind.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm definitely. Go ahead.
I think it highlights a little bit of what they could communicate better because, like, I love Clown's characters, and I know that Link's working on some like really great lore, and then there's stuff on the website and stuff, but I a lot of degens don't read that much, and like I think a lot of the lore is written, so I think if we could get more like I don't know, and this could be a job for like CMO or like social media manager is like tell us more about these characters, tell us more about Cooltopia and what it's like to live there, um, so that we can really kind of like take that as inspiration and run with it with our own like fan art if you want to, because like people are doing these contests and you know they're gonna want to connect with the characters and like really like think about them and like make them real in their heads. So I think if they can kind of communicate what's canon to us a little bit better, that would be really exciting.
100%. I think that is a great idea because to your point, like how many people have gone to Blue Cat's desk in like the Cool Cats website and clicked around to go there and click further in? Like very few people. And this kind of like character development needs to be dripped through tweets, through constant kind of updates on a weekly basis, through contests, so that it's kind of baked into people's minds and front and present. But yeah, Ham, what do you got?
Just a couple things. You guys can hear me now, first of all? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, cool. First, Hawkward's absolutely right. Degens don't read. Every time I see something that I'm supposed to read, I'm like, oh, God. I think they can do a better job making those parts of the narrative slightly interactive. And it doesn't even have to be anything like as complicated as a full-on animation or like a playable interaction. It can honestly just be a GIF in an image or an image that changes, that pushes the narrative. If you can get somebody interacting with it, that's a huge thing, and it's really easy to get people engaged in that way. The second thing ties into what I was going to say earlier, kind of in the gaming aspect and how you can push that narrative. I was in playing Fall Guys because I want to win a Cool Cat, but also I was shocked how quickly I got into my old mentality of like, oh, look at this Fall Guy, but he looks so plain. I want to get the skin. And now I'm playing the game to get skins, and I realize, why the fuck? I'm sorry if I swore, but still, why the hell are we trying to do play-to-earn gaming when that's not why anybody played games to begin with? They played games because they wanted to win things, and they liked being competitive in the games, and they liked exploring, and they liked gaining those things that other people didn't have. And blockchain is the ability to put those items and truly own them, own the skins, own the items that you win. And still, I haven't seen that implemented in a game. And it's all about play to earn. And I just think it's the wrong approach for gaming. When you can fork Fall Guys and put a 10K collection in Fall Guys and make it Fall Cats, like that's a game I'd play. It doesn't have to be some huge narrative. It can just be something fun where people hang out and you earn something that somebody else doesn't have. I mean, it's pretty. I'm waiting for that from any NFT, honestly.
I hear you. Before we go back down like the gaming route, I think Hawkward's point on like how do you tell the story about these characters? Like, what's the right, whatever you want to call it, marketing approach, narrative approach? Like, I'm curious to hear from Saida because I think you're obviously with your soft plug for Devotion, your new venture, but also just like your interest in recently in things like Wagdai and things like that, and how they've kind of told a story over time. What would be your recommendation to the Cool Cats team in terms of how they're rolling out some of these new characters?
Oh man.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I guess is there anything, even if it's just ideas that you've kind of brewing in terms of other people that have done interesting things in that space, or what they haven't done, not necessarily like a strategy for the Cool Cats team to follow.
Yeah, I think one framework that I like to follow is follow the path that is sort of easiest to go on. Like, don't create more friction for your users, because you're already creating like an uphill battle, or you're already kind of going on an uphill battle, right? Where you're trying to introduce a new character with a whole new story and lots of new context and all that. So don't bury it or don't create it in a way that is hard for someone to consume, right? Like, make it really easy for them to consume. Like, make a video or make something that plays. Don't make them click through a bunch of different things, or don't have a lot of text all on one page. Make it easy for them to consume. It doesn't have to be video. There are other ways to do that, but that is, yeah, that's kind of one tip. And then also, yeah, like, don't hide it. Put it in places where people are already there, so that they don't really have to do, again, like, log in or create accounts or click through too many pages just to find this thing. Like, it could be a simple tweet thread, right, with like a video or something to introduce some of these characters as like little moments. I think that's the kind of thing I think about, because again, if I want the highest chance of success for people to really understand these characters and consume the stuff I want them to consume. Sounds weird to say that, but I want to make it as easy as possible, right? Like, why would I make it harder? So I think that's just strategically something that I would think about.
Retro.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I 100% agree with that. Being able to easily digest media is key. And I think a great artist that did that and grew his own following, and now has his own project is, Cool Man Coffee Dan. So, I think back to his Instagram posts and his little animations and stuff. And while, they're like fun and relatable, I feel like, and I may be quite wrong on this, and I apologize if I am, but it seems like he's able to do them quite fast enough to where he's still able to maintain the overall, I guess, message and the overall lovable characters that we've come and known. And I feel like if we could do that, especially on TikTok, and create these super fun, relatable slash extravagant scenarios with those characters, it would be actually key, because of one, TikTok's algorithms, and two, because that's really where we hit the next generation and where we hit the younger people, and that's kind of what our, I guess, quote unquote product is, our like product market. I don't know. That's just my two thoughts on that.
Ham, what do you got?
I just wanted to agree with Sadek a bit. I just hope they don't overcomplicate the rollout of the new characters. I don't think it has to be any more complicated than here's a red bird, that was a blue cat. The only thing they really need to decide is how to distribute it and how to price it. And I think that we know what's up, and the people who see it know what's up. And I don't think you really need to incorporate it beforehand into the whole lore. I think you can worry about doing that like kind of down the road. But we get it. Like, we want the red bird, we want the green monkey. We'll take the yellow penguin. Just yeah, just give it to us. Don't make it too complicated right now, and we understand, I think.
The character I'm most excited for, I pinned here, which is Lilac, which is actually Blue Cat's sister. So you can actually find out in the Instagram posts from the cartoonist that Klon had developed this as a younger sister to Blue Cat, and she's got like all types of sass. You can tell from that photo there. So I know that, like, yeah, we want the new characters. Part of me is interested in how they roll out like the relationship between these characters too. Like, do they get along? Is she like the realist, while Blue Cat's like an optimist and just like always happy about everything. Like I'm super curious on just how these characters kind of interact with each other, because I think that starts to give life to the IP and brand.
Would you incorporate that into the mint though, or would you keep those things separate?
I don't know. I'm kind of on the approach that Harcourt was saying, which is like, how do you roll out kind of information about the characters? I would like to know more than just the fact that she's like a lilac colored cat. I would like to know more in canon that it is his younger sister. I would want to know with these other characters, like, is Cooltopia a place that only cats live, or is it a place where like all these characters live, or do the birds live in Marshmallow Mountains or something else? I think having a context for the characters and the geography around them would be super important for just the broader IP and the game in general. So whether it's early on in the mint or post mint, I don't have a strong preference for, but I'm someone who's like obsessed with that type of level of kind of world building and geography and storytelling, that I I would expect or hope for those type of answers at some point, as opposed to these just being different animals of different colors.
Yeah, I'm probably most excited for the penguin because he's carrying a Game Boy, and that's like literally perfect for me. So if these are, mintable and it's along the lines of you get one of the five, I'm probably gonna, empty my pockets out for the penguin. I wonder what his name is. I'm gonna give him the name of Pat. Pat the penguin.
That's great. That fits.
How many partners are there? Like, hold on, what, 2, 4, 5? So if we got, what, 2K each one, and they were mintable, I'd be happy with that. I would definitely probably empty my pockets on the penguin and maybe Joe, but I don't know, that is that a monkey over there to the far right? Sloth?
Yeah, I
What
think
is
it's a monkey. I never even thought
okay.
that they would mint them all at the same time, like a 10K split between five.
Yeah, like two. I mean, whatever each, however many each, and yeah, just split it up. I think that would be pretty interesting.
Well, that would help with value as well. Not that we want to talk about value, but still, I mean,
Right,
if you did
right.
10K of each one, you're diluting. You and somehow I know it's weird, but you're diluting Blue Cat a bit. I think somehow.
Well, you could go take the. I mean, you could honestly take the Gutter Cat gang approach. They have a great model over there, but they had the cats first, and then their little OG species were like some were claimable, stuff like that. But there was, there weren't 10K of each. There was only like what 2K or 3K of each. So I mean, I definitely think it would be cool to see each one of them mint all at once, one per cat, giving the cat more value, and then it is kind of making them more valuable with it being a low circulation count. I would be happy with that though. I don't know how they would push it out, but yeah, I'd be cool with something like that. I hope we get something like that at least. But I mean, I don't know. Would y'all be disappointed if it came out that these were never going to be mintable people?
I think they all might be. It'd be interesting if they split the five among 10 and then had all the same traits, kind of differently sized for each ones. Like it's still random which traits they get, but if they
Right.
had the same hat kind of sized on each one differently, so all the traits stayed the same, but the base changed. That'd be interesting.
Who do you think the number one most wanted I guess partner would be? I might have to go with Lilac. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people wanting Lilac. If not Lilac,
I think the
probably the
anteater
penguin.
too. What's the anteater's name?
Oh, I forgot.
He doesn't have a name.
Oh
Okay.
well, he's just kind of like a badass
The
looking guy. I
fawns.
think he'll be famous.
Fawns.
I mean, he'll
The
be pretty
Fawns.
popular. I think. The Fawns, yeah.
The Green Ape comes out, like we're gonna be shilling hard, right? Saying Green Ape is the next BAYC.
Oh yeah, for sure it is.
They're all
That's what
good
I
though.
heard.
I mean, they're all pretty solid. Like you can tell that he put the same amount of work in each of them. They're definitely very defined, but very of his aesthetic as well. So yeah, and they're all that different color. So it's almost like they were set up to be this. Like this was their destiny.
I think that it was very intentional in terms of their color scheme, because if you go back to the cartoonist Instagram, early on you could see Klon was developing out a handful of these, and I think he had 4 of these characters. But then he drew a picture of them all together, and they were 2 silhouettes with no characters, but they were like the pink silhouette and another like yellow silhouette. And basically he didn't have an idea for the characters, but he knew what color he wanted them to be. So he was asking in his like Instagram post like who should these characters be? Like how am I going to fill in these blanks? So it's very interesting from like an artist standpoint. He was approaching it more less from like a character standpoint, but more from like a color palette standpoint. And how does he create something that just visually seems to be a collection that looks great together?
It's really cool. Sniper, you
Yeah.
gonna play Fall Guys later? I'm coming for you, man.
Fall Guys, the official game of Cooltopia of Cool Cats.
It's a great game.
Yeah. The last thing, I guess, before we close it out, the last thing that Klon mentioned around the interesting mint mechanics, I think, Ham, you were talking a bit about that, and it's not an easy thing to figure out. Like, do you just launch 10K collections and 10K collections across the board, or are they like 2,500 per character, etc.? But more so around like they're thinking about creative ways in terms of how to drop these characters, and they specifically said drop. Whether that's drop or claim or whatever. One thing that I recently talked about was like, please no more Polygon drops. Like nobody wants any more Polygon NFTs. Like I don't want these like Polygon NFTs that automatically go to my hidden wallet and then I have to uncover them. And like no offense to Ham, like I know like we minted those, but I'm talking about like drops specifically because always
No, they had to be on Polygon because Milk is on Polygon. That's why
no
the
for
pigs
sure.
are on Polygon.
I'm not picking on the JPEGs,
I got
but I
Ham's
think like
drop.
whenever they're dropped, they seem to just always automatically go to like the hidden folder, and I feel like
Interesting, right? Yeah.
yeah,
But the pigs didn't, because if you mint them, they don't go to the hidden
exactly,
folder.
because you're consciously minting and claiming these. So, I actually had a conversation with like Klon in the DMs after that, where he was mentioning like, hey, how do like what's the right way to approach these kind of things? Like, would anyone be interested in claiming NFTs if they were ETH NFTs to save on the gas for the creators and things like that? My personal thought is like, I'll do an ETH claim like any day of the week if it's worth my while over a Polygon drop like 10 out of 10 times. And what are folks like? What are your folks' thoughts on that? And what ideas would you have about this potential like new character drop or claim?
I I would like to see, and maybe I sound like a little crybaby or something. I would like to see them dropped together instead of one by one, because I definitely feel like you're going to have those people. Maybe I'm just slow on the draw. That's going to be able to get one every time versus the people who never get one. Maybe that's just me and bad thinking. But if they do drop them, however they drop them, I hope that we get some information before the drop. And I would like to at least make it fun, a fun way. I thought they did a pretty fun way with the cool pets whenever they drop, like the little, even putting in the words. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I hope they just at least make it fun. I'm not for Polygon as much, regardless what Disney says. But yeah, that's just me. I would much rather do an ETH claim than a Polygon drop. Only Polygon project I think I've ever liked is the JPEGs. So shout out to Ham and Codename. But Ham, I see you got your hand up, buddy, so you can go.
Well, yeah, I have a lot to say on kind of minting stuff because I've minted. I mean, I've created a couple collections and different, and my sentiments are the exact same as Goodnight's on this. Like, I would rather mint an ETH NFT and pay the gas than be airdropped a Polygon NFT. I mean, we're setting up a claim pretty soon here for JPEG holders, and I won't say what it is, but I mean, we had to create kind of like, I mean, Codename could explain it better than me, but it's called like a Merkle route that basically keeps track of the people who are listed inside of the contract, so it can keep track of who has what. It's a good way to determine like tiers of NFTs. So if I'm distributing a tiered NFT, and one is rarer than the other, I can have that stored in the contract. Who has and who meets and qualifies for those things. So say you had 2 cats and like 4 pets, maybe that qualifies you for a higher tier or for more of these future characters that are claimable. And that's the way to go about it. The only thing I think that needs to be really kind of kept from the original mint is that kind of that reveal, minting it, seeing what you got, and then kind of showing it off in Discord. I mean, that's the kind of fun and excitement I wanted to emulate with the JPEGs, and why I made them kind of that instant reveal. Try and capture some of that magic the cats had when they first minted. So I hope they kind of stick to that. I don't know what they're going to charge or how they ultimately will distribute them, but there are some ways to do it around like what you hold, what you have in your wallet. Maybe you have a bunch of different collectibles from Polygon that qualify you for a different animal. Maybe there's a common version that has more. So there's a lot of ways to kind of distribute them.
I think it does need to be on ETH if it's going to be taken seriously as like a main PFP type collection. I mean, I'm not like dunking on Ham or anything, but I mean, if they want to be like the caliber of like the original Cool Cat or slightly beneath it, like the Gutter Cats did, as Sniper mentioned, like it's got to be on ETH. But as for the claiming process, I think it's going to depend who you ask, and that it could be very tricky because like the cool pets are going to feel entitled to something, and then the cool cats are going to feel entitled to something, and but then like, do you want to only reward your holders, or do you want to expand the community by kind of doing something more like Moonbirds, where it's like a raffle, but I would ideally have it be raffled at like a much lower like cost of entry if possible, just to like kind of be more inclusive and like reminiscence of the Cool Cats .02 mint. But you know, like with Cool Pets it was a 0.5 mint, so it's gonna be a little tricky. And then my parents are here, so my dog's gonna scream, so goodbye.
Thanks, Awkward. I think that's a good place to end it as any. To close out Sniper's point, we'll let Retro go one more time, but to Sniper's point, I think one thing for certainty is that all these characters are not going to drop at the same time. The team has said that. And I think it's actually more in line with what Hawkward's looking for, which is they want to spend the ample amount of time to dedicate to each of these characters and, you know, build that story, do the right contest for it, build community excitement around each character so that they kind of get their own spotlight and time in the sun before moving on next to like the next character drop. So this might be a half year or a full year thing. I don't know how often we'll see character drops, but it'll be exciting. Retro, did you have one more thing you want to close us out?
No, I was going to say something, but no, yeah, go ahead, go for it. All you.
All right. Well, that's it for this week's community spaces. Again, thanks to all the people who came on stage: Ham, Retro, Psyduck, Hawkward, Sniper. We always love a good Hawkward laughter and her sharing her hot dog adventures throughout this week, and especially on National Hot Dog Day today. So we have a ton of guests coming up. I'm not ready to share quite yet like who those guests are, but I think some will be ones you would hope to see, and some will be very surprising guests that you would not have thought would be guests, but are excited to see. So more to come in the upcoming weeks and months for the Cool Cats community spaces. Again, thanks for all the co-hosts here up on stage, and thanks for everyone for listening again. And as always, we love the cats.
We like cats.
We love the cats.